Hey, this is Tommy Chong, and you're watching The Boys Podcast.
Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, headquarters. Hello, headquarters. Come in, headquarters. This is Officer Clyde.
Use the code name. The code name.
Headquarters. Headquarters, come in, please. This is code name Hardhead.
Hat. Hard hat. Give me that. Hello, radio dispatch. This is code name Hard Hat. Code name Hard Hat. Do you read me? Over.
Was that lard ass?
Hard hat. Code named Hard Hat. Do you read radio dispatch?
Hey, got something for you, lard ass.
Hard hat. Hard hat. Do you understand?
Lard ass, lard ass.
Hard hat. Radio dispatch. Do you know who this is?
No, who is this is?
This is Sergeant Stadinko.
Oh yeah? You know who this is?
No.
Bye-bye, lard ass.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Is there a problem, Ossifer?
Did you just say ossifer?
No, sir. I'm sorry. I distinctly heard him say officer, sir.
Pulled you over because your left brake light is out. I'm gonna have to write you up a warning.
Close one, man. I thought for sure he's going to ask what's in the bag.
I'm still right here.
Uh-oh.
Dog food?
We were framed! I mean, of course it's dog food. What do you think it was, illegal drugs?
All right, weirdos. Drive safe.
Dog food?
Yeah. I mean, oh, wait, man. If the dog food's in this bag, then where's... Oh, wow, I gotta check on my dog, man.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe, also known as JC Productions on YouTube. Today I'm joined by the legend himself, the one and only Mr. Tommy Chong. Welcome, Mr. Chong.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I got a couple questions for you, Mr. Chong, if you don't mind.
Okay. Fire away.
Sounds good. Okay.
Fire 'em
So,
up.
okay. What are you doing during these times of quarantine?
Oh, in the quarantine?
Yes.
Actually, I'm busier than I've ever been. You know, I'm doing a ton of cameos. I'm making marijuana pipes. I'm doing trying to stay alive. You know, working out and enjoying. You know, the lockdown. You know, especially this pandemic. It's actually been a blessing in a lot of ways for me, because I get to, you know, when you're performing a lot, you know, you're always on the road, and when you're home, it takes a few days to come down off the trip, and then next thing you know, you're planning another trip, and so there's a lot of things around the house that don't get done, you know, get neglected. And so this is the first time in my life that I've ever, been locked down in my own home for, but it's almost a year now.
Wow.
In March, it'll be a year. I gotta say, I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Time really flies, though. Like, once you're in quarantine, time flies.
Well, I binge watch a lot of the television shows at night. You know, like people say to me, "Oh, don't you miss going to movies?" And when you think about it, no, I don't miss it at all, because you got to go there, and then you got to park the car, then you got to walk into the theater, then you got to buy the popcorn, then you got to stand in line, then you got to find your seat, and then you got to sit with a whole bunch of other people, and then you watch a big screen, And then you got no control over the big screen. Like if you miss something, you can't pause, you can't put it on pause, you can't go to the bathroom. I mean, you're stuck according to what their schedule. And now, oh man, I'm enjoying this so much. If I see something I like, I would see it again and again and again. And if I see something I don't like, I just don't look at it. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. It's like, yeah, we're coming of age, because we got all this technology at our fingertips, which we never use. At least me. And now, and then we're also being aware of personal hygiene. I've never washed my hands so many times.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
I mean, you got a lot of bad habits. Especially if you've been on this earth for a while. And so, but I've always worked out. I've always been, like weightlifting and that. And so now I can't work the big weights like I used to. But I'm like now I'm studying my body, and if you want to stay young and healthy, diet, what you eat, and a lot of exercise. And then there's the other aspect that I'm doing that I'll share with you. I share with everybody. It's funny. I used to remember when you talk to older people, or like old jazz musicians, or yeah, just people that have been around for a while. They, for the most part, the happy ones, they got a smile on their face, and it's a smile of knowing a lot, and living. The trick to life, the trick to happiness, is living in the moment.
Yes.
Being aware of every moment. If you want to be happy, you find a way to keep yourself in the moment. Because I like golf. We were talking about golf a minute ago. That's what golf's all about.
Yeah.
The minute your mind drifts, then your game drifts. The minute you start worrying about the hazards, or the water hazards or whatever, that's because what you're doing is you're focusing on that which you want to avoid. And by focusing on what you want to avoid, you inevitably go right to what you're focusing on. And so, and that's life. It's not just golf, it's life. If you want to be happy, you focus on what you're doing in the moment. And when you do that, you can't be bored. You can't be unhappy, because you're immersed into whatever it is you're doing. Even if it's criminal. Yeah, like I've known people, I did some time in jail, and I met some really, like crooked people, but sweet as can be, but being a criminal was their job. It was their vocation. They're very proud of it. And being in prison was like part of their lifestyle. Because they would go, like I had a friend in there, he was a biker, and he was like a professional criminal.
Okay.
His job was, besides selling weed or drugs, transporting them, his job was also transporting illegal aliens from the border into America. And he did it. He'd put them in a motorcycle outfit, and he got $5,000 a piece. But he rode a motorcycle, and so he would put him on a motorcycle garb, and then put him on the back of his bike, and boom, just no one bothered him. And but his big problem was what kind of drugs he used. You see, as long as he smoked weed, he was okay. The minute he got into the other drugs, then he would get caught, and then he'd end up in jail, which was to him was like a vacation. So, yeah, there's what I learned anyway is that everybody on Earth is here for a reason,
Yes. Hmm.
and no one is better than anybody else. Everybody's here to learn something,
Hmm.
and what it is depends on the individual.
Yeah.
But and when you learn stuff like that, you when you learn secrets like that, you learn there's also laws of
Hmm.
of well, like teachers, for instance. That's why teaching to me is one of the most noble profession there is,
Hmm.
because you are helping other people,
Hmm.
and by helping other people, you're fulfilling your duty on earth. And and when you start learning these things, then you become at peace with yourself. And when you become at peace with yourself, then when you're peaceful, then you notice everything.
Hmm.
You're not the least bit troubled in any way.
Yeah.
So growing old, it has its benefits.
Hmm. Okay. Now, what made you want to become an actor, and who inspired you to become an actor?
Uh, I grew up uh, with a really, really great parents. My mom and dad were super. They were both undereducated. My dad was Chinese, and he had a grade 12 education, but he was more of a he was a gambler actually.
Hmm.
By he was a gambler, and he could do everything. Growing up as Chinese, he could do everything. My mother, which I found out just recently, was 20 a quarter native. She was 25 or 20 over 20% Native American, which meant her mother was half. And so that was a big family secret. So my mother was really Native American, 25%. I'm 8%.
Wow.
And but my mother was an angel. She was super, very undereducated. Her mother committed suicide when my mother was like 4 or 5 years old, and
Oh
so
my.
my mother didn't go to school. She
Wow.
she did. She got a grade 3 education, and then she was pulled out to become a domestic servant when she was younger, and then
Mm-hmm.
she met my dad, got married, and then had us. But my mother was self-taught, and so much love and so much and then she was also very sick. So I had incredible parents, which I never saw until I was because my mother had TB, and the family was kind of broken up. I was all our kids were in orphanages, in a Salvation Army home for a couple of years. Anyway, and I was in the hospital. Long story short, I I ended up being like an only child, even though I had an older brother and a younger sister. We weren't a family unit, and
Mm-hmm.
so I I've always been sort of like a loner, and then but I always had musical talent. I had a ear for music, and when I was well, 10 years old, I guess I could play guitar well enough to play with a fiddle player.
That's
And
cool.
so I played country music, dance music when I
Wow.
was 10 till, well, the rest of my life. But serious, all my 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I would play country music,
That's
backup guitar. So I learned all about show business really, really young. And so when I met Cheech, I was in a band. I was in a rhythm and blues band, and I had nightclubs. Uh, I could do a lot of things, and we had a strip club, uh,
mm,
the first strip club in Vancouver. And so, yeah, basically, the way I got into acting was that I became a comedian with Cheech.
mm,
And Cheech was also a singer. We were going to put a band together, but we'd
ooh,
been doing comedy
mm,
for 9 months in the strip club. We had a little improvisational group. And so then Cheech and I decided that, well, we won a battle of the bands. We never played a note. We just did comedy.
mm,
And and so then we decided to come to LA. I decided that we come to LA and seek stardom, which we did.
yeah.
And then when I got to be, uh, I became a comedian. I became a recording artist. Recording 9 comedy albums,
Mm,
and that's more or less like writing a movie. You know. And so when it came time to do a movie, we just went visual as opposed to being audio.
mm,
And and then I found out I had a talent for directing, and so I directed what six of the movies uh,
mm,
that we were in. Let's see, everything I did, like I play music by ear,
mm,
learning on the job. It's on the job training, and so that's how I got into acting. I became sort of like my own teacher, and then
wow.
then studying movies. Like I loved going to movies all my life. That was the cheapest thing you could do when you're poor. When at Christmas time, I'd get a book of movie
Mm,
passes. And I
mhm,
would. Just that was my early dating. When I dated a girl, I was always take her to a movie. And from my earliest, I think my first date was like taking a girl to a drive-in movie theater. And,
ooh.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's basically, I'm a self-taught everything, music, directing, movies, acting, everything.
Nice. Wow. Wow. What is your favorite role that you've done, like movie and TV show wise? Do you have a favorite?
Not really.
Not really.
Really. I'm one of those guys, I can do a lot of things, but I'm not one of
Hmm.
those things that I can do. You know, like you see the guitars, I got a ton of guitars,
Awesome.
but most of them don't have strings. I
Mm,
don't play them that way. I don't practice like I should. I play for my own enjoyment. Oh,
yeah.
well, yeah, there again, I learn a lot when I'm talking to you. Talking to people because
Mm,
I realize uh, music. Uh, I play enough to get to do the job. Yeah,
mhm.
it's
Yeah.
like when you live on a farm or when you live, in the country.
Yeah.
You do things to get them done.
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
do things because, oh man, this is so much fun. I think I'll do it. Like even my making pipes.
Yeah.
Like I make pipes, but I've always had this sort of conveyor belt mentality because I've worked like in a cookie factory. I've worked in, where you need to keep doing. I've worked for the telephone company. I've done things where you do things to get things done.
Mm,
And I just realized that making pipes, for instance, like this is one pipe I made.
that's cool. I'm sorry.
And then
That's
what
cool.
it was a random piece of wood.
Mhm.
But I realized that if I polished it, sanded it and polished it, it would, the beauty of the wood would come out. And that's what it is. Now this piece of wood is beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, and and uh, and it's cheap. See, I found the wood somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like I go to thrift shops and I'll
Mm-hmm.
buy
Wow.
real ugly looking objects for the wood because the wood's cheaper than if you go to a wood shop. You know,
Yeah.
you can get mahogany, walnut, all sorts of great things in a thrift shop where they're kind of giving it away. But if you go into, and again, being raised like on a farm, there was no stores.
Yeah.
And so when you want to make some, whatever you need, you made it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and then again, too, it's also my native culture too, because I've always, all my life, I would make uh, slingshots or bow and arrows.
That's awesome.
Well, my brother and I were both into hunting knives, you know.
Mm.
Well, it started off with the kitchen knives because
Okay.
again, like we said, we had no toys, and so you go in the kitchen, there's a ton of stuff you can play with. That's a toy, and a sharp knife is beautiful when you're a kid because you
Yeah.
can throw it, you can carve with it, you can cut with it, you can hurt yourself with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I do interviews like this here, I kind of, when you take a question, I kind of trace it back to where it all began,
Um,
because like acting, like you said about acting, again, I never, playing sports was okay, except it was painful.
mm.
Everything hurt, especially when you're young. Like I had my brother was 2 years older than me, and so
Mm.
he would use me as a guinea pig, like like for anything, like he'd teach me wrestling, and then he'd
Mm.
almost kill me with
Oh my.
all these things. But I learned how to fight back, and so I learned how to be pretty tough. But my my instincts were I like playing with girls more than I like playing with guys.
Yes. Yes.
It was so much more fun, and there was a very sexy thing about it, like I didn't want to be a girl, I never had that, but I loved the softness and the way, like one of the games we played when we were kids,
Mm.
all summer, we'd play house
Oh,
where
okay.
we would, okay, I'm the dad, you're the mom, and we would have we'd do little sitcoms. We do
That's
little sitcoms. How was work today? And we would,
mm.
we'd play. And the girls always had they had a plan. They would direct everything. Okay, you're this, you're that, and we would play. Those games would go on all summer.
Oh my God.
And we'd make we lived in Alberta, and
Mm.
there was again, there was no playgrounds, there was no toys, there was no organized anything. It was
Mm.
just be home for dinner or be home for supper, you know, and there was no phones even, no telephones, no connection. When you walked out of the house, man, you're out of the house.
Mm. Yeah.
And sometimes if someone needed you, they would have to literally come and find you,
Mm.
as kids. I mean, I remember one time, we were going out somewhere. Oh, we are going over to my aunt's house because that's what you did when you were poor. You visit relatives, you know,
Okay.
and
Mm.
that gave my father, my uncles to talk to, and my mother would have the older ladies to talk to, and then kids, well, we just were on our own kind of. But
Mm.
yeah, that acting for me, I learned it really, really, really young, and then and so when it came to acting for real, it was a piece of cake, no problem. Getting into character.
Nice. I also liked you like when you were like Leo in that 70s show. That was funny when you said, "Yeah, man." Like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, Leo was a character. Well, actually, as long as Cheech and I were together, I resisted doing any television
Hmm.
because I saw it was a kiss of death. Because you look at the old sitcoms. I mean, that was their life.
Yeah.
The natives would say they didn't like to pose for pictures because they said the camera stole your soul.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you think about it, they were referring to television.
Mm. Hmm.
Because that television camera, once they capture you, they
Hmm.
stole your soul.
Oh my God.
And that person, like Leo, I mean, lucky, the good thing about me, well, Leo, I was a supporting character.
Hmm.
But if I was a lead character, that was it. I would have to live with the fact I was that guy for the rest of my life if it was a hit show, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why, a lot of people, you have to do a lot of things to get away from that
Mm.
that typecasting. But
Mm.
anyway, everybody's on their own trip, so
Mhm.
so I'm just telling you how I you know how it affected me and how I looked at it. But television, Cheech and I were offered a big a show way back.
Mhm.
They wrote the show for us, and then when it came time to sign it, I realized I didn't want to be typecast. I didn't want
Yeah.
to because there's rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. We couldn't do our dope humor. We couldn't do all that stuff. That we did. The sex and drugs and rock and roll. We couldn't do it in any part of the world unless it included sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Mhm. Wow. Do you mind, like, can you say, like, yeah, man, can you say that if you don't mind? Like,
Which one?
can you say, like, how, like, Leo says, yeah, man, can you say that if you don't mind?
Yeah, man. You mean that one?
Yeah, that's so good. I'm sorry, that's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, man. Yeah, that was the old Leo. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the hassle, man? That was the character that Cheech and I did, when we get stopped by the cops.
Mhm.
And the cop's going to let us get away with a warning, and then the man would come in there. Hey, what's the hassle, man?
Yeah.
Why are you picking on us, man? Why don't you get a
Yeah.
real job?
Mhm. Okay. Now, is there a role you want to do? Like, is there a movie or TV or like a movie you want to do? Like any role?
Yeah, there is actually.
Hmm.
There is. Because I never really wanted to be owned by anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to be owned by a studio. I didn't want to be owned by a sitcom, the producers, where they literally own you,
Hmm.
tell you where to go, what to say, where to wear, you know.
Hmm.
But I came up with an idea that I think could be implemented, and it
Hmm.
could save our economy, save and like everything's got shut down now. There's the movie industry isn't like what it used to be. Although it's limping along like everything. It's just
Hmm.
limping along. But when you shut an economy down like we've shut down, it's like when you stop when you get old and you stop working, you
Hmm.
start moving, things start dying on you.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
know, your ability to be mobile dies. Next thing you know, you're sick because you haven't been moving enough or drinking enough water or stuff like that.
Hmm.
Uh, so the economy is, I mean, we're finally getting Biden in. thank God, and he's going to do his best. But you know, we're at a very a crossroads with it with the world because uh, because we come up with robots and intelligent computers that will eliminate a lot of manual jobs that people used to aspire to, or that was their lifeblood, you know. And so we have to adjust to recreation. Recreation really is the new job of the future.
Yeah.
Because keeping ourselves amused while we let robots do the work for us. You know, which is because robots are much better, more efficient. Uh, um, you know, you can fix them. They can be more intelligent.
Yeah.
Everything, everything. And because humans, we were meant to be the masters of the robots,
Yeah.
and therefore not competing with them. You don't want to ever compete with them. They work for us.
Yes.
So we have to adjust to time. And what we want to do with our time really is to educate ourselves. Educate. That's what we did when we were here. My wife, she takes three different, oh, she's studying art, she's studying yoga, and she's studying dance, ballet, and all that. And she can do that at home. And that's what we have to do. So the movie industry, now that's recreation. We can use the movie industry for to learn what we can do. Movies are more popular now than ever before, what it is, it's what's lacking, in my estimation, is no, there's nothing lacking. There's a demand for product movies, and the demand's going to get bigger because that's you know what we that's how we learn. You know, back in the day, people went to church. That was their entertainment. Back in my day, that was your entertainment. That was your social gatherings. You know, it was the churches. They had all sorts of things for people to do. Lately, in the past few years, the churches really have become more of like it was like a thing that churches were never supposed to become, which is to generate income for the people that are running the church. That was never supposed to happen. The churches were supposed to be free and supposed to be you give a collection in order to keep the pastor going, but we were never meant to support their private jets and their habits like that there. And then in churches it becomes cults. Cults become run by, you know, very evil things run by humans. So so the idea of the church was okay and was good in so many ways and produced so many things, but we've gone past that. And so now recreation, it's what we do to amuse ourselves and to stay healthy. Golf especially.
Yeah.
I look at golf because all ages can play golf. All sexes can play golf. All people. And the great thing about it, it's an exercise of touch and touch and faith,
Yeah.
which is really, when you think about it, it's like the modern church. See?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because we're here alone. And when you look at the protocol of golf, it's all about being polite for the next person. You don't talk when the other people are putting. You call it when it's your honor. It's my honor to tee off first. Because you had the best score the last one, then it's your honor. And then mulligans, you can redo a shot if everybody agrees. And that's life. That's really life. If you do more than one mulligan, then you're really not really, you're more or less cheating, and you're cheating yourself.
Mhm.
So when you ask me about the movie, I envision movies will be made now that will change, because they are being made now, that changes the movies that really are our only moral compass
Mhm.
of society. They used to be really heavy, and then the criminal movies got very popular, and then the horror movies got very popular, and they should, and well, they should be. However, when you go into the occult, when you go in, because that is very real, even though they're the occult and the evilness, it exists
Yeah.
in a big way in order for good to exist. You see,
Mhm.
you can't have good without bad.
Yeah.
You can't have hot without cold.
Yeah.
You have to have that. And because we're in a physical universe, that's what we're living in. And so you always will have that balance. Always have that balance. And so what I was seeing, the way civilization's going now, is that we stare at a screen, be it a TV screen, be it a computer screen, be it a phone like we're doing now. See, this is what we're doing. I'm
Mhm.
watching movies now where this iPhone isn't discovered yet. And it's really funny watching people, their lives. And I was part of that thing where you phone someone, and
Mhm.
and there's an answering service that would answer for you if you didn't want to take your call. It's still the way. But now look at us. We can look at each other while we're
Yeah.
talking. See, a few years ago, that was unheard of. That was
Yeah.
totally unheard of. And so as we evolve, we have to adjust. And that's why recreation comes
Mhm.
to play, because
Yes.
this is what we were meant to do. We weren't meant to work like pack animals, you know.
Mhm.
We weren't. And even animals weren't meant to work like that. You know, you know, I don't think any horse or cow when they're born thinking, "Oh boy, I can't wait to get on that, put that yoke on and walk around and grind somebody's flour for the rest of my life." Just walking in circles or pulling a wagon or something. But that's what we've evolved to.
Yeah.
Now, with recreation, healthy recreation,
Mhm.
and that's what, like using the planet to have
Mhm.
fun. That's what
Mhm.
skateboarding is all about. That's what, because you're using gravity.
Yeah.
You use gravity for your own use.
Who was the coolest person you've worked with? The coolest.
Well, the coolest person I talked to
Okay.
is Terrence Malick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a director. I tried to get him to direct our movie,
Mm.
and he said, "Did you write it?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, then you direct it." He gave me the best advice, and I'll never forget that. And I'm such a fan of his work.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Now, what was it like to be on The Masked Singer and Dancing with the Stars? Like, what was it like, those experiences?
Masked Singer was tough because you're masked, you're incognito, and when you're a celebrity, the worst thing in the world is to become incognito because you lose your power. You have no power, and
Yeah.
you're just a masked singer. No one knows who you are, and they almost treat you like a leper, you know. But I love the singing point, and the reason I took those parts is to take singing lessons because I never took a singing lesson until I learned, you know, just by myself, but actually go to school. I dropped out of school real early, so I never had I never got into that learning thing.
At first I was afraid, I was paralyzed.
Oh my
Kept
God!
thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights just thinking how you done me wrong. I got strong. I learned how to carry on. So now you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock. I would have made you leave your key if I had known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. So now go, walk out that door. Yeah, just turn around now. You're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to break me with desire? Did you think I'd crumble?
Definitely a professional singer.
I will survive.
Come on, Pineapple!
As long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive. I got all my love to give. I got all my life to live. I will survive. I will survive. Yeah, yeah.
And Dancing with the Stars, my wife was she was the one that wanted to do the show because she's a dancer. But when they found out she was married to me, they said, well, how about Tommy? And so I ended up having to do that, which was it was a great experience, but it was very tough.
You're an awesome dancer. I liked you could really bust moves. You're really good, Mr. Chong.
Keep the tap in his face, man. Tap, tap, tap.
When the pimp's in the crib, ma. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. When the pigs try to get at you. Park it like it's hot. Park it like it's hot. Park it like it's hot. And if the get an attitude. Pop it like it's hot. Pop it like it's hot. Pop it like it's hot. I got the rollie on my arm and I'm going Sean and I roll the best. Cause I got it going on. I'm a gangster, but y'all knew that. The big tough guy, yeah, I had to do that. Waiting on the dizzle, and the shit. G's to the biz that. Now ladies, who we is when the pimp's in the crib, ma. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. I got the rollie on my arm and I'm going Sean and I roll the best. Cause I got it going on.
Okay. Now, do you have a favorite band and type of music?
A what?
Favorite band and type of music? Favorite band?
Nothing where I'm, stuck. I love jazz. I'm a jazz guy. I love singing. I'm learning how to sing. I listen to everybody. I appreciate rap because I appreciate poetry, and I appreciate message, anything with a message, and I love the rhythm. I appreciate punk. I understand punk. I understand, but my love was Motown. I was in a Motown band. I loved that. I loved that life. But most of all, I love being a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I call myself a writer.
Yes.
I'm right. I haven't written. I've only written one book, or 2 books, but I love being a writer. I love being a writer, and I love being just me.
Yeah, that's the best part. The best thing to do. Okay. Now, what advice would you give people who want to be in the acting business? What's your advice?
Well, I tell everybody now
Mhm.
that I learned, you have to learn the power of prayer.
Okay.
Prayer is so powerful, especially if you're acting or
Mhm.
any, because when you're acting, you're reciting other people's words in
Mhm.
another character, and so the real you disappears. And
Mhm.
but the real you is doing the acting. The real
Mhm.
you is doing the characters.
Mhm.
And the only way to connect with the real you is through prayer.
Yeah.
Because when you're praying, you're really, but you be careful what you ask for. Praying is like going into the bank.
Mhm.
You got to know why you need the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't just walk into a bank and say, "Give me all the money," like
Yeah.
gangsters, like thieves do. And
Yeah.
that's why they don't know what. After they get the money, it becomes a problem
Mhm.
because now they got another job. They got to do something with the money.
Mhm.
Prayer is similar. You have to know what you want because the minute whatever you ask for, you're
Mhm.
going to get. Now, if you ask for something stupid, you're going to get something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be careful what you ask for. And the most powerful prayer that I know of is when you pray for wisdom.
Yes. That's good.
That's the only prayer that I do.
Mhm.
I mean, I pray for wisdom and I use it when I lose my phone.
Mhm.
I'll pray. I'll
To
say,
find.
and God and I are real cool. We got a really nice understanding because He loves me to death.
Yeah.
He really does. And so I'll say to God, "Okay, where's my phone?" And boom, the phone appears.
That's cool. Wow. Okay. Now, is there anything you like to promote and shout out? I can link down below for the
Anyway,
people. Anything you like to link? Anything you want to shout out and promote? Like, anything you want to promote?
Tommy Chong CBD.
Okay.
It's everywhere.
Okay.
So CBD oil is good. You should try it. It's really good. It doesn't get you high, but it will make you feel good, and it will help whatever ailments that ailing you. And
Mm,
if nothing's ailing you and you're fine, then you're fine.
mm.
But if you can't, if you want to sleep, it helps you sleep. It just relaxes the brain.
Oh, do you want me to also link your Cameo and your social medias? I could do that.
Yeah, I do, cameos, and if you're looking for any kind of, Hey Tommy Chong is a website that promotes my products. Hey Tommy Chong or at Tommy Chong. There's all sorts of Tommy Chong stuff around, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'll say check out all these amazing links by the best actor. I'll do that. Gotcha.
Okay, Joe.
Well, I thank you all so much for watching. Thank you again, Mr. Chung, for being an awesome guest. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and let's do it again
Yeah.
anytime.
Have a great day, everybody, and stay awesome. And stay awesome, Mr. Chung.
And we're back. Welcome everybody to 2021. We got some cool and exciting things to announce. We now officially have a website. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. We now officially have a website. I'll link it down below in the description. We'll hear more about it right now. I also want to give a big plug and shout out to my buddy Matthew who made this awesome website. So if you want to check him a follow, I'll leave his link down below in the description. I also will leave the link down to the website down below in the description. I'll also pin the comment to the website's link too as well. And here you go. Here's the website. So there's like the about where you could see like all about it. And if you click on this, it's an easier way to get to the contact where you could reach me via email, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, or my Discord server. And I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And then another big announcement, merchandise coming soon. So that'd be exciting to see. And then here's the news feed where you can see my podcast upload schedule and when I post my 50th episode. And then the cool tab is the interviews, the past interviews. You'll see like Tommy Chong, who I just posted today. You just watched him. Hope you enjoyed that one. Then here's Joe Zito, who I posted a couple weeks ago. Then PR Paul, but like let's say Joe Zito, you click on that, it'll say the name and all that. And if you click on this, it'll take you to the video link. So yeah. I thank you all so much for watching. Have a blessed day, and remember, stay awesome.